Hello, students. Welcome back. Now that we have learned the concepts of AD and AS, savings and consumption function, so I have curated another module, another assignment for you to make you aware of all the numerical aspects of all these concepts. So far, we have talked about these consumption and saving functions, but haven't touched as yet the investment function. So let's begin with this. Investment function means how much money would be invested in the economy. Actually, it's of two types. One is autonomous investment and the other is induced investment. And if you're able to recall, wherever we have used the term autonomous, that simply meant that it is not dependent on any other factors. So if we say autonomous, right? So I'll plot the diagram here and induced would be put up here. Autonomous means, and whichever diagram we are making in this chapter on x-axis, we are writing income and employment, right? Or only income also works. And here, because we are plotting it for investment, so I have to mention it investment on the y-axis. And the basic nomenclature of origin, x and y-axis, would be put here as well. So when we say autonomous means independent. Independent means whatever is the level of income, whether it is zero or it is to an infinite value, the investment is not impacted, it remains the same. So it would bear a diagram. If this is the initial investment, it would remain the same all throughout. So this becomes the investment function and investment curve for this very ongoing chapter. For the sake of simplicity, for the sake of ease, the syllabus wants you to understand the other variables in details. That's why it's a partial equilibrium in a way. When I say partial equilibrium, it simply says that there are some variables which are controlled. Means investment here is assumed to be controlled and it remains the same. So when we go beyond this grade 12th in undergraduation and the post-graduation level, while you are doing graduation higher studies, you would talk about the general equilibrium, and general equilibrium means there is no controlled setting. Investment would also be changing as per the given situation, as we do see in the real life environment. So when we talk about this particular requirement of grade 12th, for the whole chapter, investment function remains a controlled variable and it is a constant variable and it goes parallel to x-axis. Just for your knowledge, induced investment goes this way. It is positively related. When I say it is positively related, it is an indicator of yours and mine. For example, if you are to invest somewhere or I am to invest somewhere, it would purely be dependent on income. If I have some surplus income, if I have some money to invest, I would be investing. So my investment is lower when my income is lower, and my investment goes higher when my income. So higher investment here, I dash, where I have higher income, and lower investment when I have lower income. But so basically, this induced investment is for private sector like you and me. But when we talk about public sector, when some project has to happen, it has to happen. Whether government has the funds or not, it would try to generate or borrow or something, whatever. But whether the invest income level is this or this or this, if that investment has to happen. For example, the metro train, the bullet train, some defense expenditure has to happen or investment has to happen. So public investments are of this nature, which are autonomous, which remain the same. So after this, and from this whole discussion, we got to know that investment is a constant variable. I have picked up the same table which we discussed last time. So because investment is not mentioned here, I'm now mentioning, say, investment is 10 units all throughout. So it remains 10. right? Now, I hope now you know. The last module also discussed about all the formats of numericals. So here also we'll try to just have some more details. Like if the examiner wants you to find AD or AS. Are you able to recall? AD is equal to C plus I and AS is equal to C plus S. And you must note that C plus S would eventually be equal to Y. So let us find and let us derive it through this table. Can we do so? AD is equal to AS. So AD and AS are to be found as of now. So for this, C plus I has to happen, and C is here. See, 20, 110, 200. So this becomes 30, 120, 210, 300, 390, 480, and 570. What did I do? I simply added 10 units, right? And C plus S. Now I want all of you to pay attention that C plus S has to happen to find AS. So just see, what does it give? 20 plus minus 20 gets you 0. 110 minus 10 gets you 100. So if you just try to find, you would have this way the values generated for you. Now, once again, cross check. Is AS coming to be Y? Yes, it is so. 0, 100, 200, 300 up to 600, 0, 100, 200, 300 up to 600. So we have here showcased that AS is nothing but the values of S. I again want you to pay attention that can from this table we derive the level of break even. So for break even, remember, break even, what does it mean? You know, this chapter gives you this vital point and you must understand it. That level of income where whatever you are earning, you are consuming. It means you are saving zero. Zero means you are neither asking for money nor you are saving any money. Savings are neither negative nor positive. These are zero. So when we say break even point, so break even point is when savings are zero and where consumption is equal to income. So just see, where is saving equal to zero? Saving is equal to zero here. Is consumption equal to income? Yes, I can see that consumption also is equal to income. So this level of income means answer is 200. So at 200 level of income, the economy in this example attains its break-even point. The next chapter would demand from this very table the level of equilibrium. As we did in our previous classes, demand is equal to supply for micro. For macro, it is equal to AD is equal to AS. So though in the next module the same would be covered, but I want to showcase that there would definitely be a level where AD is equal to ASC. AD is equal to AS at this level. So this level of income, and for sure, it would not be coinciding with the break even. It would always be ahead of break even. So that level of income where AD is equal to AS becomes the equilibrium level of income. And this would be done in detail in the next chapter. So let's proceed ahead with the numericals beautifully curated for all of you. Yeah. Show the following in the diagram, any point at which APS is negative. The very first question, it can be done very easily. When APS is asked, mind you, I have to make S curve, and S curve is this. So wherever you want to show this point till it is below the x-axis, you are right. So APS would be negative in this saving zone. So you may write any point, say this, you may highlight this way and you name it somewhere like K and A. So at OA level or OY level, OA is the level where APS is equal to negative. Why is it negative? Because APS, what is APS equal to? It is equal to S by Y. And S is negative, hence APS becomes negative. Because Y would always be positive here on the right side of origin. Right. So at this point A, S is negative, hence APS would be negative. Then comes the question, sum of APC and MPC is always equal to 1. That's clearly false. Why is it false? Because we know APC and APS makes 1 and MPC and MPS makes 1. So if you justify using these two statements, you will get full marks. The value of MPS can never be negative. That's true. Why true? Because we have discussed in previous module that the value of both MPC as well as MPS remain between 0 and 1. They are never lesser than 1. Means they are never lesser than 0. Means they are never negative. Why? Just think wisely. The rationale behind this is, if you talk about MPC or MPS, MPC is delta C by delta Y. Can any of these change be negative? Neither delta C be negative nor delta Y be negative. Hence, MPC or MPS can never be negative. Hence, the statement given is true. Now, the next question, question number 3. Can the value of APS be 0 or 1? So, in this very diagram, once again refer to this very diagram which I have plotted before. APS, in the last module, I tried telling you APS has got a range of negative, 0 and positive, but less than 1. Why so? If I say, can APS be equal to 0 or 1? So, we'll say APS can be equal to 0, yes, at break-even point, BEP, but APS can never be equal to 1. Why? Because for APS to be equal to 1, it means S by Y is equal to 1, or we say S is equal to Y by transposing it here. So if Y is transposed here and S becomes equal to Y, is it possible in the real life? Can you save the whole income which you have earned? No, the whole income cannot be saved. What would you have for your consumption? Because consumption has to happen. Though it may be a bare minimum level, but it has to happen. Consumption is never 0. It's positive always, irrespective of 0 level of income. So APS can be 0, but it can never be 1. Now, next question. Given below is the consumption function of an economy, C is equal to 100 plus 0.5 Y. With the help of numerical example, show that as the income increases, APC will decrease. Beta, what do you do in this? Now, you take, how would you do it? You take any, you have to, create a table wherein you would say you are beginning with 0 and then you are beginning with going ahead with 100, 200, 300, and then you go for C. C is equal to what? You put the values here like 100 plus 0.5 of 0, that is equal to 100 again. 100 plus 0.5 of 100, that is equal to 150. So this way you will keep on plotting. So once you are done with Y and then with C, then you can find the value of APC and you would then be able to showcase what is going to be the trend. I just want you, just to save on some time, I want you to see this. So for this very table where we had Y and we created C, here it was just assumed, but here we have created C because we are given this function of 100 plus 0.5Y. So for whatever value we are assuming for Y, like for Y is equal to 100, how did I get 150? 100 plus 50%, 5 by 10 of 100, that's equal to 50. So when 100 plus 50 is done, that gives me 150. So this way, you would put the value of y as 100, 200, 300. So you would have the whole C column created, then find APC. And for sure, what would you have? You would have such a trend where APC would have a bigger value followed by some smaller values. And then you would show that as income increases, means you are increasing the income from 0, 100, 200 on every next step, APC is decreasing. So this way you have to justify with a schedule. And if you're not making a schedule, it would be best to show it with the help of schedule, or you just see case 1 when y is this, c is this, ap is this. Case 2, y is this, c is this, ap is this. So this way you have to give 2-3 cases wherein APC would be shown decreasing in every step. Now, next question, question number 5. And question number 5 says if the disposable income is 1000, consumption is 750, find APS. So what would happen? I know now what is given. Income is given to be 1000 and consumption is given to be 750. I request all of you to be very mindful about whatever units are given. You have to put the units, because if you are 100%er, you would never be exempted, and you would never be given any excuse for not writing units, and you may get the loss of half a mark or somewhere this way or that way. So why to lose marks? So savings means unconsumed part of income, that is 1000 minus 750, that gets you 250. So it means we are having S, we are having Y and Y. So what's the formula of APS? APS is equal to S by Y, and S is 250 here and Y is 1000 here. So we get to have 0.25 as the value of APS. I hope the things are clear. Now, let us proceed further. I need some clear space now, so I'm just scrolling it up. And the question number 6. Question number 6 says, if the, I'm writing it clearly here because it would be little comprehensive. Question number 6 says, if the national income is 50 crores, so I'm mentioning, it's always the best to write the small notation or the expression in small format as and when you read. So income is 50 crores. Then savings are 5 crores. So savings are 5 crores. Without moving any further and reading any further, I would simply do it myself, that if income is this and savings are this, by default, consumption becomes equal to 45 crores, right? Now let us find. What does it say? It says find out APC. So my job is clear. I have already found C. And what would be APC? APC would be C by Y. And C is 45 and Y is 50. I already have 9 by 10. That's equal to 0.9, and I'm done with my first segment of question. Then the next is when income rises to 60 crores. No, it means this was so far case 1, and I have to have case 2 also for the same. So what do we do and how do we do? Now the income rises to 60 crores. So Y dash is equal to rupees 62 means the final value. And by means the change is given. So this is 60 crore. Right. And savings to 9 crores. So savings means S dash come out to be 9 crores. So I would do the C dash part. So what is the consumption here? In this case, consumption is 51 crores. Now, what does it say? What would be APC? APC, definitely we can find that APC is my consumption with respect to income, and consumption is 51 and income is 60, and whatever is the value is my answer. But what about this concept? What is MPS? Remember, when we say M means marginal, and marginal means it's talking about the change over a period of time. So when we say change means We are to find delta S by delta Y. So what is delta S in this case? See, what's the final value of S? That is 9 crores. So what's the initial value of S? That is 5 crores. So the change is 9 minus 5 gets you rupees 4 crore as delta S. And when we talk about delta Y, so what's the final value? Final value is 60. Initial value was 50. So 60 minus 50 gets you rupees 10 crores. Now, it's very easy for me. I know that when you are comparing case 1 with case 2, you have the whole data with you. So the change of savings is 4 and the change of investment, I'm so sorry, change of income is 10, and hence the MPS in this case is 0.4. So we are done. The question looked tricky because it had 3 segments, but when we do it peacefully, slowly, gradually, and the things do get sorted and everything falls in shoes. Yes. So moving ahead, derive S from C curve. Let's just do it fast. Derive C from S. No. Derive S from C. So from means we are given consumption curve, and this is consumption curve given to us. Mind you, in economics, whenever we are drawing any diagrams and any graphs, we need not label it with respect to proper scale. It's only the trend which is seen, right? So this is income. Here we are finding consumption and savings, right? And this is origin. So this value is C bar. I'll measure exactly the same value below the x-axis, and that becomes minus C bar. You need to mention it clearly. Excuse me for this bad expression for now. Now, I have got one point where would S curve be beginning from. Then you just make a curve rising at 45 degree, and which is that curve? This is called AS or Y curve. And this point of intersection is BEP because here at this point consumption is equal to income and savings are equal to 0. So I'm very much able to now make the savings curve using these two, and yes, this is my savings curve. That's done. And the other way around, if the question was given to you, you could have done it so very well. We have done in the previous modules. Now, the last question, why I'm saying last? Because 9th and 10th are the concepts to be given to you. Numerical values are not given. Now here the question is C is equal to 50 plus 0.8 Y and I is equal to 2000. I'm just writing it clearly. C is equal to here. C is equal to 50 plus 0.8y and I is given to be 2000. If only these two pieces of questions and statements are given, you can have around 7 to 8 questions asked here from, and all these are subparts. I'll show you one by one everything, right? So first is, if C is given, how would you find S here? S becomes, I need to have only 2 steps to convert C to S. What are they? Just make autonomous consumption to autonomous or this savings, right? That by minus, putting minus sign, and subtract this from 1. So this becomes MPS 1 minus 0.8. And we are done with savings function, that is minus 50 plus 0.2y. This is first part. Second part is, what is the value of autonomous consumption? So that is 50 units are the value of autonomous consumption. What are the dis savings? So we'll say minus 50 are the dis savings. Next question is, what is MPC? So this constant value in consumption function is MPC. What's MPS? So this value of constancy, right, along with y in S function is MPS. right? Then they say, can you find the value of break-even level of income? Now, let's understand, whenever we are talking about break-even, we have been just mentioning in the beginning also we mentioned that when income is what we consume or savings are zero, both situations give rise to break-even point. So let us do by both the things, right? I'll put this C function equal to Y. So for break-even, right? C is equal to Y and C is 50 plus 0.8Y is equal to Y. Right. I'll bring Y this side. So this becomes 0.8Y minus Y is equal to 50 minus 50 because I have transposed this to the other side. Right. Minus 0.2Y is equal to minus 50 and Y becomes equal to 50 by 0.2, it means point goes up, it's equal to 250. 250 is my answer. Let's verify it by the other approach. And the other approach says the break-even is where S is equal to 0. So let's put the S function equal to 0. And which is the S function? S is minus 50. See, this is S function just above. Plus 0.2y is equal to 0. So I'll write 0.2y is equal to 50 because 50 is transposed this side and the negative symbol will be converted into positive, and then 50 divided by 2 and multiplied by 10. So 2 5s are 10 and 5 5s are 25. So I get to have 250 as my answer, and this is the level of break even. Another question based on this very value, that what is the value of consumption at break even? We know the formula. Answer is going to be 250 here. Why? Because at break even consumption is what we earn. So let us find out using the formula. Our consumption function is given to be, C is given to be 50 plus 0.8y, and we have already found that break-even level of income is 250, right? So let us calculate it. So this is 8 by 10 and 250. So that becomes 250. So, and this is 200. 200 plus 50 becomes 250. So 200 is this evaluation and plus 50. So that gives me 250. And that's, yes, clear. Why was I stuck? We have already found that income at break even is 250 by this approach. And now another question was, what's the consumption at break even level? So we have simply put the value of Y here, and that gives me the consumption to be 250. Another question can be there. Can you find the level of savings at break even? Yes, we can find. We have to put savings function, right? And then we have to put the value of Y as 250, and you would find that saving comes out to be 0. So the savings function was minus 50 plus 0.2y. Just see this function, you would be able to understand. 50 becomes minus 50, 0.8 becomes 0.2. So this is my savings function. So at break even, what's the level of income? At break even, the level of income is 0.2y into, this is 250. So see, I'll just do it. So 25 twos are 50. So 50 plus and 50 minus land you at 0. So I knew the answer before, and this is the mathematical verification of our progress, of our confirmation and verification that we are doing it right. So these are the things which can be asked, and beyond this, there is nothing in this very chapter, right? You can be given because I is given to be 250, right? See, I is given to be 250 in the main question. So you can be asked at break even, what's the level of AD or AS? So what would you do? AD is nothing but C plus I. And at break even consumption is 250 and I is given to be 2000. So AD becomes 2250. Right, rupees and crore you would definitely be putting. Now, what is the value of AS at break even? So AS is nothing but C plus S. So consumption is 250 and savings are 0. Right, so this becomes 250. So AD is more and AS is short at break even. I want to show you that aggregate demand at this break even, if I just want to write down, this is my investment. So this becomes my AD. So at this break even, AS is below and AD is above. So this gives the testimony that we are doing it right. Fine. So let us see, have we done everything? We have found AD at break even, AS at break even, this savings, consumption, break even by two approaches, savings function, autonomous consumption. APC and APS can also be found if we are having the values of APC, right? APC is nothing but C by Y. So APC is equal to 1Y because it is 250 by 250. And we also know this that APC is equal to 1 at break even because while doing the diagrams, I've told you several times that break even point shows APC is equal to 1 and APS is equal to 0. Why? Because here C by Y and here C is equal to Y. So APC becomes equal to 1. Here S is equal to 0. So when we put in this value of S by Y, S becomes 0 and numerator when is 0, APS would definitely, the whole value would be becoming 0. So my point is, this way you can do everything which comes across in terms of small and big numericals. And if you have the content, you can justify all the formats of MCQ, assertion reasoning, statement 1, statement 2, or fill-ups or true false or whatnot, right? The thing is, I also have written these 2 points, increase to and by. What do you mean by increase to and by? A value when increases to some value means 2 is the final value. For example, consumption is 500, it increases to 700. So it means the final value of consumption is 700. But when it is said consumption increases by 700, so we have to add the 700 in the previous. It means the final consumption is 500 plus 700 makes 1200. So you have to be very particular. We did this very clearly in 11th standard during the numericals of demand and supply, that 2 is the final value of some variable and by is the change given of some variable. Right. Similarly, increases 3 times and increases 3 times more. What does it mean? Let me help you. There is a term increases 3 times and the other case is increases 3 times more. It means if you're talking about any variable, say C increases 3 times means C now has become 3C. But whenever in some numerical you are given increases 3 times more, it means when initial C was there, now in this very C, 3 more C's are added up. It means the final value is 4C. Try and understand. This more is saying that this change has to be added into the primary value given. And this simply says increase it to 3 times. I hope this was a fruitful session. So if you have still any doubt, any query, you're welcome. And for now, we are just closing this video. Wait for the next, and I'll be waiting for your comments and queries. God bless. Goodbye. See ya.